it's always a pleasure speaking with you, and I wish we had more time to speak throughout the year, but I always figure that the most important thing is to talk to you at this time of the year because as we speak, Valentine's Day is approaching us.
Yes,
it is.
Again.
Again. Before we get into that, how has the radio show been?
The radio show, I guess it's in its third year, and it's absolutely amazing. I love it. We're able to help so many different people on so many different levels when it comes to all topics relating to dating, relationships, from boundaries to, like, today we talked about hormone health for women and how your hormones affect relationships and how to deal with a partner going through hormones. I mean, so many different things, and like dating in general, dating tips, dating advice, dating experiences, using dating apps, online dating, so much stuff we cover. So
why is it so hard for people to connect with other people? You would think with social media it would be a lot easier.
I just think that now we have too many ways of meeting people, whereas before it was so easy, right? It was basic. I mean, guys were forced to go up to women and have to ask them out, where now they don't have to do that anymore. And I think what's happening is you have so much choice online, and you have all these, people just seem to be emotionally unavailable. They're not ready for commitment. They move from one relationship to the next without dealing with their issues. Again, too much choice online. So now, it's called the paradox of choice. So when you have so much choice in front of you, you don't want to make a choice because you don't really have to. You always think something better's coming along. You don't want to miss out. It's called fear of missing out, FOMO. You always think something better's around the corner. I mean, there's so many different reasons, but yes, it has become a lot complicated. And, I don't think people should be using social media for dating. I think that that's what dating apps are for, because I think it's really annoying when someone slides into your DMs and, they're not genuine, really. It's just, they're trying to send you a dick pic or, I don't know, just like these silly messages. Hi. It's like, okay, you're annoying me now. You're just filling up my box. So anyways, I think that people should stick to using dating apps when they're looking for someone rather than social media.
And not only that, one of the things that I think you and I did talk about this, and it's actually something that came up in one of the, what is that show called, 90 Day Fiancé, where one of the couples got together, but the woman that sent her picture to the gentleman was a much younger picture than what she turned out to be, and that happens a lot.
Is that the catfishing episode?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, the girl was just after his money, really. Right, and that happens a lot, too. People don't represent themselves properly, or they lie about who they are. Like, I know someone right now who currently is talking to someone, and it's been 2 months, and this person's avoiding meeting them, and it's like, well, why? What are you hiding? Like, if you're not ready to meet someone because you are insecure about the way you look or you just don't feel good about yourself, then don't put yourself out there. Right? But there are a lot of lonely people out there that are looking for friends or they're looking for connections, so they'll do what they have to do. So someone else's expense, and that's
there
not
you
right.
go. No, it's not. So how do we survive Valentine's Day? How do we get into the relationship that we're hoping to get, or are we putting our standards too high? How does this all work?
Well, I think that you just really have to gain a better sense of who you are and what you want. And I think that you need to search for someone based on how they align with your goals and how they treat you rather than how good-looking they are, right? Because, let's face it, looks fade. And just because someone's good-looking does not mean that you are necessarily going to be compatible with them. Also, I always suggest that people give others chances that might not be their ideal type, Like, so let's just say you're on a dating app, you meet up with some guy, you've been chatting with him for a while, and then you meet him and go, okay, he's not exactly what I expected, but he's not bad, right? Give him another chance because you really don't know enough about a person on a first date to determine if this person is your soulmate or this person's for you. And I think we make too many judgment calls too early on, So I think that you should be giving giving people chances. And I think, too, we spend a lot of time with the wrong person, but I think that we need to be mindful of how attentive someone is to our needs and how they treat you when we're choosing a partner, and to get rid of people that are no longer serving you and to get rid of people that don't treat you properly, because the right person is not going to come into your life when you're hanging on to the wrong person. So really it's just about getting out there. Like if you're online, you want to have a really good picture of yourself or a few good pictures of yourself. Like take the time. This is like, it's almost like a job, like when you apply to a job, right? You put your best foot forward. And I don't understand why people don't do the same when it comes to dating. Like you need to sell yourself. And some people have the attitude of, well, too bad if they don't like me, then the way I am, then forget it. But no, that's not true, right? So you need to put your best foot forward. You need to put together a really good profile, and if you don't know how to do it, or you're not good at writing about yourself, then get some help from a family member, a friend, or someone like myself, right? I help people with their profiles all the time. I help people choose the best pictures for themselves as well. So there's a lot of little things that you can do to help you meet someone, and also really put yourself out there, right? You really do have to. And if you are single, tell everybody you know that you're single and to keep an eye out for you. If you don't ask, then no one's going to try to set you up. But if you ask, you might be surprised.
I've got a ton of questions, and I know we only have a short amount of time. But here's one question I want to throw out at you. We talked about social media, or I should say, using apps and things like that. But if you want to actually get out there and meet people one-on-one, where do you think are some of the best places to go to? Immediately, people always think, well, I got to go to the club to meet somebody. That's not necessarily true. Can you think of anything else where people can go?
Well, okay, so when you go out every day, you can potentially meet someone. Mm-hmm. So I think that if you're single and you're searching, when you go out that door, you need to look good, right? So put yourself together, because you could meet them anywhere. You can meet them at the grocery store. You can meet them at the coffee shop. It's endless on where you can meet people. I think that people need to get back to the old-fashioned way of meeting people and keep their options open, keep their eyes open, and don't be afraid to go up to a stranger if you find them attractive. And you don't have to go up and say, oh, hi, I find you attractive, but find an excuse to go up to talk to them. Make an observation about something that's going on in your space. For example, let's just say that you're at a coffee shop and you're in line and you want to talk to someone, right? You might want to ask them about a certain coffee that you've never had that you're interested in maybe getting, and maybe you want to ask them, like, hey, have you ever tried the cafe latte? I heard it was really good. I've never had it before. Have you ever tried it? That kind of thing, right? So you want to get in people's ways. So everywhere. You can also go to, singles events like mine. I host speed dating events on a regular basis. Great way to meet other singles. I have a dance. I have an anti-Valentines Day party happening this Friday in Toronto. Where everybody there is single. So I think that just going out wherever you can. Also, you might be able to join a specific meetup group where let's just say you like golfing. You might want to join a golfing meetup group where people have like-minded interests, that sort of thing. But yeah. Just the idea is to just get out there as much as possible. You can meet them anywhere. But just make sure you look good when you go out that door.
Very, very important. The other thing, too, which you kind of mentioned earlier, if you're in a relationship that you feel that you shouldn't be in, how do you get out of that relationship? And hopefully you can do it respectfully.
Well, depends how long you've been in the relationship. But, if you've only been chatting for a few weeks, is that kind of relationship you mean? Or you mean like a long-term relationship?
Either one. That's actually very great.
Well, I think a relationship that you really haven't put the time into, you don't really owe anybody anything. But, some people might do it over text. If you've only been chatting for a couple of weeks, that's fine. But if you've had an intimate relationship with someone, I think that you should probably see them in person and tell them. And take your time doing it. And make sure it's not over alcohol. especially if you've been in a long-term relationship. You don't want to break up with someone over when you've been drinking, for sure. But I think communication's key, and most people deserve to be broken up with face-to-face. And try not to ghost people. This is a phenomenon that's happening that's just crazy. It's like this huge disappearing act. It's just like you're chatting with someone and then all of a sudden they disappear. I can understand if you're chatting with someone online and you haven't met them yet and you say something that they don't like and then they disappear. But if you've actually communicated or been communicating for a long time and then you see them in person or you have seen them several times in person and then they disappear, it's rude, right? And it makes you feel horrible because it's just like it just really affects your self-esteem. So you don't want to do that to anyone. You don't want that to happen to you, so don't do it to anybody else.
Now, something you mentioned again earlier that I absolutely love for Valentine's Day, your event. Can you talk a little about that, please? I think this is amazing.
Sure. So I'm having an anti-Valentine's Day event. So we're still kind of celebrating Valentine's, but we're tricking your brain a little bit to make you think that we're not. Anyways, I just find that we get more people out when we host an anti-Valentine's Day event, and there's quite a big turnout. There are quite a few people signing up for that event. So we got a game going on at the beginning of the night between like 9 and let's just say like 10 o'clock. We have a mixer going on, and then after that it turns into, so that gets people mingling, the mixer part, and then we give out prizes and so forth. And then we've got a dance party after that. So between 10 and around 12:31, we dance the night away.
Amazing. Now, to help the gentlemen talk to the ladies, you have something else, too, that can help.
Yes. I have a program that I set up called, or I created called the Get the Total Approach, and it's on the website, singleinthecity.ca. And basically it just helps guys build their confidence and really learn about what women are attracted to, and and then it teaches them to build up their nerve to go up and talk to women, get their number, teaches them how to text people. But really, a lot of it has to do with you and building your confidence. And once you can get your confidence built up, then you can conquer anything, really. So that was the whole premise and goal around building this type of program.
Wow, you are definitely Toronto's Cupid. You know that, aren't you?
I do.
But, like I said, we can keep going and going and going. I know people have so many questions, personal questions. How do they get in touch with you? And also, got to make sure people know, too, about your website and everything else. How do they get in contact with you and hopefully bring that soulmate to them?
So www.singleinthecity.ca is the website for events, date coaching, matchmaking. I have a really affordable matchmaking service. It's only like $199 to join, and then it's a pay-as-you-go service where it's only $50 a date. So that's there as well. Get the Total Approach for guys on building confidence and learning how to approach women. That's also on there. And I have hundreds and hundreds of blogs if you want to, read, or you like to read, up on dating and relationships. I also host a dating and relationship show on Global News Radio 640 Toronto Sunday nights. That's AM 640 for those of you who don't know what that is. And it's also a podcast, so you can download any of the episodes on Apple Podcasts or iTunes. All the past episodes, there's like a couple hundred in there. I've been doing it for 3 years, and we discuss everything to do with dating and relationships. Anything that you can think of, it's in there. And official Laura Bilotta is my Instagram.
Fantastic. Before we go, I'm going to ask you for 2 pieces of advice. One, for couples who are trying to get their Valentine's Day together, what advice can you give them? And 2, for those who are going to be single on Valentine's Day, what advice can you give them?
Well, if you're single on Valentine's Day, try not to feel sorry for yourself, because there are a lot of people in relationships that shouldn't be, and so, and wish that they weren't, and they were in your shoes. So just take this time to embrace who you are, and spend time with people that you love, like maybe friends, family, go out for dinner with them or celebrate with them on another day because it's so expensive on Valentine's Day, right? And it's full of couples, so maybe you don't want to be around that. Yeah, and I guess the key is not to spend the evening alone and, do some self-care, right? Like spoil yourself. Maybe you want to go for a massage that day. Maybe you want to go get your nails done. Maybe you want to go for a pedicure. Yeah, and then just turn Valentine's Day into a positive. And just think that, there's hundreds and thousands of other single people feeling the exact same way that you do. And so, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. Just if they take the time to reflect on who you are and what you really want in a relationship and make an effort to go after what it is that you're seeking. So be proactive.
Love it. And for the couples who are together and preparing for Valentine's Day, what advice would you have for them?
Well, I guess it's all about, sometimes couples can't get out because they have kids and stuff, so I think it's all about spending quality time with each other and finding that quality time. And I think it's Valentine's Day should be all year round. It shouldn't be just one day where it's celebrated on that one day, right? So I think it's just being mindful of always being attentive to your partner, giving them compliments, because you always want to support your partner's healthy self-esteem by complimenting them regularly and making them feel good about themselves. You want to be mindful of how you speak to your partner, and, you want to avoid triggers. You want to listen to your partner and really know, because there's nothing more frustrating than trying to talk to a partner who's constantly checking emails or texts or whose attention is somewhere else. So just really try to make an effort to spend quality time with your partner. And you know what? Once in a while, get dressed up and go out on a date. It might not be weekly. I mean, if you can do it weekly, great, but at least once a month. And make sure that you go somewhere outside of the house so it's like an actual date night. And kiss lots and hold hands and sex, lots of sex.
I want to add something to this.
Yes,
several years ago, the late, great Barry White, I asked him that question, and he basically said the exact same thing that you said. You shouldn't look at Valentine's Day as once a year for romance. If you're in a relationship, every day should be Valentine's Day. And you're bang on. You're bang on the advice.
Thanks.
Love it. Thank you so much for doing this interview with me. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm going to throw that out to you.
Happy Valentine's Day to you too.
And all the best, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, thanks.
Darling, I can't get enough of your love, baby.